Dragon Dreams. I'm Ivan, and my channel is about indie, old school, and unconventional role playing games. Welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about the 3 alignment system. This is an alignment system that was used in the basic versions of Dungeons & Dragons, specifically BX and BECMI, but it's very common in the OSRs today, such as Old School Essentials, Ben Milton's Knave, Basic Fantasy, and several others. So I thought I would go through what the 3 alignment system is all about, how it differs from the 9 alignment system, and I'm going to try to share with you why I feel that it's actually kind of apples and oranges to the 9 alignment system and why I like it so much. So first, let me define lawful, chaos, and neutrality as they are written in BX and BECMI. It turns out that the words they used are identical in all versions. Law, or lawful, is the belief that everything should follow an order, and that obeying rules is the natural way of life. Lawful creatures will try to tell the truth, obey laws, and care about all living things. Lawful characters always try to keep their promises. They will try to obey laws as long as such laws are fair and just. If a choice must be made between the benefit of the group or the individual, a lawful character will usually choose the group. Sometimes individual freedoms must be given up for the good of the group. Lawful characters and monsters often act in predictable ways. Lawful behavior is usually the same as behavior that could be called good. They're quotes. And notice a few things in there, that they will obey laws if such laws are fair and just, that lawful is usually good. Chaos, or chaotic, is the opposite of law. It is the belief that life is random, and that chance and luck rule the world. Everything happens by accident, and nothing can be predicted. Laws are made to be broken, as long as a person can get away with it. It is not important to keep promises, and lying and telling the truth are both useful. To a chaotic creature, the individual is the most important of all things. Selfishness is the normal way of life, and the group is not important. Chaotics often act on sudden desires and whims. They cannot be trusted, and their behavior is hard to predict. They have a strong belief in the power of luck. Chaotic behavior is usually the same as behavior that could be called evil. And again, they're quotes. Neutrality, or neutral, is the belief that the world is a balance between law and chaos. It is important that neither side get too much power and upset the balance. The individual is important, but so is the group. The two sides must work together. A neutral character is most interested in personal survival. Such characters believe in their own wits and abilities rather than luck. They tend to return the treatment they receive from others. Neutral characters will join a party if they think it is in their own best interest, but will not be overly helpful unless there is some profit in it. Neutral behavior may be considered good or evil, or neither, depending on the situation. So my takeaway from this is you will notice that lawful, is considered to be commonly good. It's often good, not necessarily. That there is this concept of fairness and justice inherent in the concept of lawfulness. That honesty is important and prized, and keeping promises. With chaos, it's the opposite. There's this concept that it's usually evil, that people don't keep their promises, they don't tell the truth. And neutrality, there's this belief in balance, and also this concept that, as I said, chaos is strongly associated with evil. Neutrality could be good or evil, or neither, in any given circumstances. And I think it's actually pretty interesting that neutrality, they have something almost a little bit like the golden rule, which is rather not so much do to others as you have others do to you, but rather treat others the way they treat you, which is kind of interesting. So, it might be like, well, people are good to me, then I'm happy to be good to them. And if we look at how they describe various different monsters and NPCs in terms of the alignments, we find some very interesting differences from advanced Dungeons & Dragons and later versions of D&D that use the 9 alignment system. So, for example, if you look at the listings for orcs are chaotic, whereas in the 9 alignment system D&D versions, they're lawful evil. What we get in the 3 alignment system is a concept that how you behave is something you're called to do in any society in which you're in. Remember that for a lawful person, laws must be fair and just. So I think there's a concept that a lawful person believes in universal law, order, and justice. And I would also say peace. I don't mean peace in the sense of like, hey, peace, man, like pacifism kind of thing. I would say peace more in the sense of that states in the fantasy world are not at war with each other. So that would be something that they would seek, because you can't really have law, order, fairness, justice without peace. If you have war, you're by definition not going to have those things. So that would be something that I think leaders who are lawful would seek in the world. So you might ask, well, how come orcs and Baron von Hendrix are both chaotic? Well, I think the answer to that is a little bit more complex, because you say, well, they believe in being chaotic and luck. They believe in luck. They don't believe in keeping their word. They believe in dishonesty. They believe in the self over the group. Well, how could orcs believe in the self over the group if they're so well regimented? The orcs are known for their militarism, for being able to form up phalanxes and stuff like that. I think the answer is orcs are naturally like that, but the evil Dark Lord they serve is going to whip them up into shape to force them to cooperate. Now, if you might say that Baron von Hendrix is lawful evil, how come he's chaotic? Well, again, it's apples to oranges. I think the problem here is that the 9 alignment system has a very different view on what lawful and chaotic are, as I said. So Baron von Hendrix may very well be somebody who is selfish, someone who is opposed to the laws, believes laws should be broken if you can get away with it, and therefore may very well be somebody who in his own barony is such a tyrant because he wants to force everybody to his whim, right? He doesn't care about law and order or justice and peace or fairness. He doesn't care about these as universal concepts. He will do anything that will promote his own selfish ends, including whipping orcs into shape. What I find really interesting as well is that neutrality could, at any given time, be good or evil. I think that's really interesting, because it's, again, not saying that neutrality is a balance between the goodness that lawful tends to have and the evil that chaotic tends to have. It's a balance between lawful and chaotic. I really like the 3 alignment system, and I actually like it better than the 9 alignment system. Let me tell you why. First of all, at every game table that I've played the 9 alignment system with, it seems like there's always a debate at some point over what exactly good and evil actually mean. And these matter because the DM will expect us to play our characters. Now, I'm not one of these moral relativists who says that it's all just cultural. I think that we all understand a basic concept of good and a concept of evil, but that there's a bell curve of perspectives on that. It's like the blind people and the elephant. And if you don't believe me, take an introductory course to ethics at your local university, and you'll see what I mean. Philosophers have different theories about what exactly it means to be good. In the three alignment system, I never have any debates. When everybody reads those definitions, they all understand what that means. Second reason why I like them is because they also provide a certain amount of flexibility. So that, let's say I want to play a thief, and let's say my thief is a street urchin like Oliver Twist, or the Artful Dodger, or they belong to a gangster organization, like a Thieves Guild. Well, I sort of feel like in the 9 alignment system, chaotic evil is too strong. It's like they're not going to serve the evil Dark Lord or go over to the orcs. But chaotic neutral is a little bit too weak. In other words, they're not really neutral, they're pretty shady characters. I could very easily imagine my character, who was raised as a street urchin, sort of feeling that the world is this kind of capricious place. It's all just down to luck, and they're just out to survive and make the best of things, and they just have to get away with things. That's just the way the world works, and they're selfish, put themselves first, but they're not. As I said, they're going to side with the bad guys. They're still going to be friends with their adventuring party, even though they put themselves before the group. They might have some friction, but they're still, if the people are friendly enough to them and they feel that, like, these are my friends, they care about me, they might have emotional reasons to be in the group, even though their alignment is selfish. And that allows me to have a character who's chaotic, but not evil. The idea that chaotic usually means evil implies that it sometimes does not. Likewise, lawful usually means good, but it sort of implies that it sometimes may not. So, for example, Stefan Karamekas, the actual Grand Duke that the evil Baron von Hendricks wants to overthrow, is lawful in the Karamekas Gazetteer. He believes in law, order, fairness, justice, and I would say peace as well with other nations. But does he really believe in goodness? So the history of Karamekas is that originally there were the Traldaran people 100 years ago in these disparate small kingdoms. They were conquered by the Phaeacian Empire 100 years ago. And then 30 years ago, Stefan Karamekas, who was originally a Phaeacian citizen, bought the entire province off of the hands of the emperor and created his own independent state. Now, he is trying to heal wounds between the Phaeacians and Traldarans to get them to work together, because his perspective is that in this new state, this is for everybody who lives here, Traldaran, Phaeacian, whoever, and we're all on the side of Karamekas, not on the side of either the old Traldaran order or the Phaeacian Empire. Now, that's clearly lawful, but is it good? There are also these descendants of former Traldaran aristocrats who are the heads of clans, who are sometimes running somewhat shady dealings in the Grand Duchy. And I could often understand them as being neutral, because they may feel that the Grand Duke has no place ruling, that they are the rightful rulers of Traldar, the former area of kingdoms and loose association of clans that was conquered, and that they're never going to get peace and justice and fairness until that power is dissolved. In fact, they may not really want peace. They may, putting that back to 100 years before it was conquered over obeying the Grand Duke. See? So they may think of themselves as being good, and it may be an open question for the table. Are they good? Maybe it is good. Who knows? Again, that's a question for philosophers in the real world of the game table as well as in the fantasy world. But there's a clear distinction between neutral here and lawful and chaotic. So I feel that the three alignment system is a really great system for a game, which is what we're doing. We're not being philosophers. We just want to play a game, and we want clear definitions of how our characters would behave according to those alignments. The three alignment system gives us some sense of good and evil, without which I think we'd be in this kind of weird sense of, well, who are the good guys and who are the bad guys? But it gives us just enough to know who the good guys and the bad guys are, while still giving us clear distinctions and something that we can easily play in the game. I hope you found this video informative. What do you think? Tell me in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing and share it with your friends. And please support me on Patreon. And until next time, keep dreaming, everybody.